So let's call this meeting of the Ad Hoc Coherent Governance Committee to order. If we could stand for the pledge, please. There's a flag out on board docs.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance
To
the flag of the
United States of America
and to the republic
for which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Our synchronization was much better on that this week.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we have better connections or something.
Practice makes perfect. Next, approval of agenda.
I moved, we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Got it?
We have any public comments, Robin?
Nope.
Okay. And we move to approval of the May 15th minutes.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, I didn't catch the voices. Who moved it?
Tricia.
Okay. Kathy second.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? Okay. Now we get to our actual task here. My first thought is we just start with the board governance policies and just start going through that.
Okay. Yep.
And kind of proofread it. And if there are sections that Robin needs help from us on where to insert stuff, then we can do it.
Sounds like a
good.
plan. So
We have the table of contents. And I inserted the introduction and background.
okay, and I took some of the feedback that you all provided last time and I kind of reworked it a little bit. I don't know if anybody had a chance to read it the other day, but I was trying to make it more clear, the difference between the state plan and the accreditation plan. And so, and then also too, it was recommended in the second paragraph, it was recommended to use the word tools. So you'll see the second line in the second paragraph, policies are the tools the board uses to govern. So, so I don't know, any other thoughts? Robin, do you have yours open so you can make changes right now?
I can't because I'm using the two documents, so I can't go back and forth.
Okay, I was just thinking
I can write it, but I can't make the changes because it's in PDF.
okay, I was just, as I'm seeing it now in print like this from you, I don't think state required, I don't think state needs to be capitalized.
Okay, where are you? What line?
I'm on the second well, I guess it's actually the third paragraph, number 2.
Where it says the state required annual?
Yeah, do you guys all agree? I mean, I think it should be lowercase.
Lowercase, all right. I can
Anybody
make
else?
the,
Yes, yeah, I agree with that.
all right, I'm making it on my hard copies.
So for all of them in there, because I'm not
Okay.
saying South Carolina state, so just state required. And then also I noted that after the month, in several places, I didn't put a comma before I put the year. So
Actually, you did, and when I went through spell check, it took them out.
oh,
But
okay.
I can put them all back in, but spell check deleted them all.
Well, I'll be darned. I don't know. I always thought there was supposed to be. I was going to say, how did I miss that? How did I miss all those commas?
I sit there, so I can put them back in and just tell spell check to ignore it, but that was a spell check thing.
Well,
Wow.
I thought there was supposed to be a comma between them. So anybody have any thoughts on that?
I thought there was, but maybe when it doesn't, like this June 2021, if it's not, doesn't list a day, you don't need one.
Maybe not. So,
You need it if you, like on January 15th,
Correct.
comma, 20, and that one's there. But when you're
Correct.
talking about just a month in year without a specific date, I think that's correct. I think there's not to be a comma there.
oh, okay. So Robin, never mind then.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I don't know if you guys had a chance to read it, if there are other feedback.
I have a couple things that I noticed.
Okay.
On page 3 in that introduction and background, it's in the second paragraph, but where it references, let's see, it is sentence 2, I believe, where it starts off with coherent governance. It says polices, needs to be policies.
Oh, very good. Good. That's a good catch.
And then just for a formatting thing, it looks like in that third sentence where it starts with operational expectations, it's indented in, and I think
Oh, I see that. Mhm.
that's maybe-
Yeah.
that's supposed to be one full paragraph, correct? Or is that the beginning of the numerical 1 and 2?
Should that be separated?
I think it should, left justify it and then put a space in between.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. That says police is not policies. Good catch, Rachel.
Polices. And then with regard to the language of state required, I know we were just talking about whether or not to capitalize it. When we say state required, are we saying that's required by the state Department of Education, or who is requiring it at the state level? Because it might be easier if we said the department that's requiring that to be submitted.
We could-
Go ahead. I was thinking Mary had told us it was the South Carolina Department of Education.
Yeah,
Yes.
I assume that's who it is, but I think
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think
So you would put the SCDOE.
yeah.
Yeah, SCDE, I think. Do they have a OE in there?
I don't know if they use a lowercase o. I've seen it done in so many different ways. So,
Yeah,
I've seen it both ways.
yeah. I just think we should reference the department that it's submitted to, so it's very clear who that's submitted to, in case there's any questions that ever surround that.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I think that absolutely. We want to try to be as clear as possible so that nobody has to go back and say, what is this again?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
we had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would suggest using the name instead of abbreviating it.
Just say the South Carolina Department of Education.
Yeah, for folks that aren't in the field, they might not know.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay.
okay.
That's the only things that I noticed.
Formatting, I have a question, formatting. So Tricia, where operation expectations, I move that over, but does that, and put a space because that starts a separate paragraph?
I think that would read better. Yes.
Okay. Do you want me to scroll it up or keep moving on, or?
I'm looking through the one on board docs.
Yeah, I am as
Yes.
well, so. Yeah, down here in the last sentence on page 3, it does say the South Carolina Department of Education.
Yeah.
Requires each.
Yeah, requires each school district to submit an annual district strategic plan.
Yeah. So if we put that, I think it should be throughout,
Yeah,
Okay.
so there's no question about it. Trying to see if polices was anywhere else, just in case. might want to do a scan of the whole document just to make sure, since it
Okay.
I think that would be a very common thing to happen, since that word would probably be used in here a lot.
And then also, Robin, in the last sentence, the very last sentence, annual, I don't know why I capitalized it. It doesn't need to be.
Okay.
I just threw it in there to make sure it was different
Say
than the
right, annual
5-year.
strategic plan. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So good to move to the next page.
I think so.
So I inserted the chart here. Is this where you all want this to go?
Yeah,
I
that's
thought it was a good spot.
Yeah, seems like a good spot to me.
Okay.
Now, before we get into the GC1 board purpose and all, I did have cause to go back to our current board policies to look at what is now called the introduction.
Yes.
And in there, and I went back there to find out the definition of a quorum. So those definitions, I think, serve a function.
Yes.
And I'm thinking we should probably stick them in here somewhere.
Did we
But
move
the-
that to the handbook or no?
I don't think it's in there at this
No.
point.
Yeah, even if it is, I think we should probably put it in here. I think this is where the definitions should be before people start reading.
Yeah, I agree. I just didn't know. I thought that maybe we had put it in the handbook.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was just that my recent need to go back to them
So
reminded me that they're good. Go ahead.
do you want it in front of? Where would you all want it?
See, I would think that it would go right after our current introduction.
Okay.
And I can't remember whether it says definitions or whatever.
I'm trying to pull it up right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, it just says introduction, but yeah, but probably most of that information that's on there, David, would be to go right behind this would be a good spot for it.
Behind the chart.
Yeah, and between now and our next meeting, I'll review that section closely and make sure everything there is just definitional.
Okay.
I think there's some stuff in there that talks about core beliefs and mission and
Yeah, and
yeah,
that stuff I'll probably delete, but I think those definitions are kind of important.
oh yeah.
So that I've got one task now before our next meeting.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we're okay with the chart. It still makes sense. Well, it's been a long time.
I know.
Is that?
It makes sense to me, but I'm biased.
Yeah, it makes sense, I think.
Okay. Then let's move on to GC1.
So everything in red is what you all have added.
Thank you.
I did have one thing that I noticed in my more fresh review of GC1 is, and I don't recall what the previous version looked like because I don't have it here, but the last bullet where it says investment, involvement, and connection of all members of the school community are essential to a student's success. I didn't know if we wanted to touch on something or say something about families. Investment, involvement, and connection of all members of the school community and families or something like that. I mean, we don't have to define families by any means, but I think that acknowledging that as a part of the school community would be beneficial.
We had that discussion, but I
Yeah,
don't remember where
We
we
did.
landed.
I thought you all talked, well, I think what you all landed is that you were saying the school community was families because families came in all sizes, but you didn't say if you wanted to add the word family in or not.
yeah, just as I'm reading it now with a fresh set of eyes, I feel like it might actually read the opposite of that, of what the intent was.
So what are you thinking, Rachel? That we say school community and families, because they're part of the community too, or
Yeah.
do you
I
want?
the other,
Go ahead.
let me see. I was gonna try to find my original copy.
So you guys, tell me where you think policies is misspelled. I'm still caught up on that.
It was up on page 3 in the second paragraph, I think. Da, 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 da.
It was when I started to list out the 4 areas of it, Kathy.
It
And it
says
started-
governance, police,
Coherent governance policies
Polices.
are divided into 4 categories.
categories.
It's missing an I after the C.
Okay. I
So it
I
takes-
still don't see that on mine, but
It's
Okay.
italicized. It's italicized.
I believe you. I'm just like, I kept looking at the governs through policies on the first sentence under coherent governance, and I'm like, that's spelled right. I know that's spelled right.
So
Can
go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more lines.
Can you see my screen? Can you see the screen?
Yes, yeah.
All right, so where it says governance,
Yeah.
did I?
Right there. Yeah.
Oh, got it, got it. Okay. I just thought that, I'm like, no, it's spelled right. Got it.
Okay, so I pulled the previous GC one, and it said family is the primary influence on the quality of human development. So I'm not sure exactly where that last one even came from, because this is the I don't know, does anybody else have another version? Because I don't know where.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. I think we
did.
talked about it.
Yeah,
I
we talked
do.
about this sentence, but
Yeah,
not.
we- Go ahead, Rachel.
Yeah, I think we talked about the original sentence that was in GC1 from Ori's draft, but I don't think we talked about the sentence that's here, unless it
Right,
I was.
right.
I just want to make sure that it's clear that we acknowledge the family unit, whatever it may be, as a part of the school community. We may, of course, assume that, but I want everybody else to see it, I think.
So if we said investment, involvement, and connection of all members of the school community and families are essential to the student's success.
That works.
Or maybe say to include families or something like that, where it just makes it clear that the community does include the family, whatever it may look like.
So say that again, where do you all want it?
Invest.
School community, comma, including families, comma,
Yeah, there you go.
are essential to a student's success. I don't know if that's proper English. I'll defer to the educators.
Sounds good.
In connection with all
Okay.
members of the school community, including families.
I think with the commas, it makes sense. I always overuse commas, though.
Yeah, me too.
All members of the school community, comma, including families, are essential to a student's success.
I think that makes sense.
Okay,
You know,
Anything
I'm
else?
sorry, I don't mean to be, you know, grammar Gretchen here, but if we're going to say and including families, I'm just wondering if we need to just say are essential to student success. We have, you know, we're saying we're families is plural, student success is singular. So I just thought we could to student success.
Students, yeah,
All right,
that's probably much more accurate
Yeah,
okay.
take the A out there to student success.
to student success. Yeah.
Got it.
way out of my area of expertise.
And the apostrophe S, right? So to
Right.
student success.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else on this one?
No,
Okay,
All right.
let's roll right into GC2.
So GC2, we added M, N, and O.
I wanted to, on D,
Yep.
it says not engage inside conversations. It should be inside. 2 words.
Right.
Not engage in,
in
Here, a space.
in space side conversations.
got it.
In yeah.
Okay. 2 words.
Yeah. You know, I wonder, you know, to be consistent with formatting, you know how we have, oh, those are in OEs though, never mind. I was thinking if we should put the knots at the end,
Yeah,
we've
those are
got-
always.
but we can, this is,
Sorry, go ahead, Kathy.
no, it was just a thought. How we had in the other parts of the document, we have the superintendent shall not, and that's at the, you know, kind of, you do the shalls and then the nots. So here we have 4 knots in a row, so
Yeah.
I was just wondering, but this is,
Right.
it's not a big deal.
Do you want it changed so that it fits what's in the OEs?
Well, you know what, this isn't an OE, so I guess we're okay. Unless somebody else thinks it's, you know,
You could always ask everybody else if they think it should be.
yeah,
I think it's okay this way, just because it's a list of things that it said members will.
right. And this is how it's been. Those first ones up to M are what we've had.
Right.
Correct.
The only thing with M, letter M, it says members will, and then everything else starts, you know, but M starts with the board commit. So maybe it should
Okay.
say members will commit to holding meetings that are conducted.
Yeah, that's accurate.
All right.
So get rid of the board and then the S in commits.
Members will come.
Will commit.
Right, because you already have members will at the top as the
Okay.
introduction to
Right.
everything.
William's raising his hand.
Go ahead, Will.
He's muted.
He's on mute.
I'm not, I need more specifics on J. About a body language. I don't think that, I mean, what does that, what does that entail?
Where are you, Will?
Jay,
On J, under 3.
Number 3.
Okay.
I don't know, I think it would be hard to enumerate every single piece of body language that would be either, you know, pro or con, because I mean, it would be a list ad infinitum.
I think that should be taken out of there.
It's already in our present or in our previous draft of policies, but it's written a little bit differently. It says practice respectful body language, tone, and expression. I mean, it is obviously subjective, but I think that taking it in or taking it out, since it's in our present policies, I think maybe we should take that note down from Mr. Smith and bring it to the full board and ask them about whether or not they would like to take that in or out. Just because it's in our present ones right now.
Right.
And you want me
Rachel,
to highlight it in another color so that we would know that was a discussion? So if I put it in another color.
That's a good idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Do you think
also,
that should we,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Will.
Go ahead, that's fine.
I was wondering if we think it's a good idea to add what Rachel just noted is in the original, to put in tone and expression.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to keep it verbatim. I know like when we went back through these and we cross-checked them, we kind of just, if we thought it captured the essence of what our present policy said, then we kept whatever Ori said.
Mm.
Yeah, but you know what, like you said, with a new fresh set of eyes, sometimes things seem different, and body language to me is different than tone and expression. So I don't know, I think it might be a good idea.
Especially if it's, if you're looking at one specific instance of something, tone and expression can totally change something. So,
Right.
Yeah. I would add it in there.
So it
That's
says practice respectful.
body language, well, hang on, let me find it again. Comma, tone, and expression, period.
And also, I have a question about I too.
Equal. I don't know if that's in there presently or if that was a new one.
I thought we had that one.
Which one is that?
We have.
I don't know if I is necessary because the fact that it's the board's purview to make laws and policies and procedures, and we have the right to seek his input, and we have a right not to seek his input. I mean, it's actually our decision to be made, not his decision.
Oh,
You
you're
mean
talking
L.
about L.
L. That's
Oh,
You're
yeah,
L.
talking
L.
about L.
Excuse me, L. Yeah.
L. Okay, you know what? But you mentioned I.
Excuse me, I apologize. Yeah, I apologize. I meant L. Excuse me, L. I mean, yeah, L.
Can I go back to I though real quick? Because I is actually covered under O, which is our language. So
Take I out.
I think we do need to strike
Okay.
I because O is our version of the same.
Yes. Okay.
And then back to what Will was saying on L was seek the input of the superintendent as issues are discussed. I mean, I appreciate that being in there because there's certain times where, we may be talking about something and I'm like, well, Frank, and I seek his input. So it's basically kind of just putting that down as that's an option for board members. I don't see it as being a requirement.
Yeah, but I think there's some times where I think that we do that too much.
Well, but that's up to each individual board member.
Yeah.
If I want to do it more than you want to do it, that's one thing. But that I don't think that we should be creating a policy that says that we're not allowed to. That's stifling another representative's ability to represent.
Well, I don't think that I disagree. I don't think that it's taking away. I'm just saying that I don't think we should make it mandatory.
How about we put a comma after superintendent, say when appropriate, comma, as issues are discussed and decisions made. How about that? And then that gives you some wiggle room on whether it's appropriate or not.
I can agree with that.
I think the input of the superintendent, capitalize the S, comma, when appropriate, as issues are discussed and decisions made.
Yes, ma'am, that's my suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Robin, I know you just said capitalize the S. Can you do a find all on that? Because I've seen it a couple other places, I think. Find
I
super.
did. I'll go back and go through it. Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, so what we made changes to M, N, and O, are they okay?
Board members will make comments germane to the matter being active. Yep.
Yeah, they look good to me, okay? Now we're down to normally hold regular meetings first and third Tuesday of each calendar month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And does that just fall under number 3, or should there be a P and a Q next to that, or what about
Which ones?
formatting?
Where are you? Board members' attendance?
Uh-huh.
That actually,
Trying to go through the formatting, I was trying to figure out if that was a separate thing, if that needs to be a number. Or
Right,
if
I couldn't
that's,
tell, should that be number 4?
I think so.
I think so. It doesn't fit
Yeah.
under business
Members
meetings are
will, yeah.
conducted with effectiveness. Yeah.
Right.
I apologize for my kids yelling in the background.
Oh, we
can't
don't even
hear
hear
them.
them.
Okay, good. I
so
can.
board members' attendance should be number 4. The board will normally hold a regular meeting. That should be the next number, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
So then I'll just go and realign the numbers again after that.
Okay.
So,
On number 4, work sessions,
uh-huh.
it says the board will hold periodical work session. Shouldn't it be periodic?
Periodic. Yes.
Periodic.
Work
Okay.
session.
Work sessions.
Work sessions with an
As
S.
an S.
Yeah. Got it?
And after work sessions, they begin, like number 4, then it says work sessions. It has a period. Should that be a semicolon, a colon, underlined? I mean,
The board will hold periodic work sessions. Although action may be taken, the purpose of the work sessions is to allow. So do you want me to put us in a?
well, it's just that later on in the document, Robin, some of the beginning words, the topic are
Right.
underlined and sometimes they're not. So it's just a matter of formatting.
You tell me. I can line it or unline it.
Look at that. Hang on. That comes from our present stuff. And so it usually has, well, it's got a Roman numeral and
Correct.
it would say work session, which is underlined with a period, and then it goes into the narrative.
Okay. So
Okay.
just
So we may want
consistency. Yeah.
to underline it.
And I would say underline it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what am I underlining? The board would hold periodic work sessions, or
No.
am I or just the topic work sessions?
Just the topic.
Okay.
Earl, I see you have your hand up.
You're
muted.
muted.
So I was going to ask a question about the body language. I know we went away from that, but what was decided on that?
That we were gonna bring that to the full board when we bring the draft, because it was in our previous policies.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And we added tone and expression.
Right, okay.
And when I say previous policies, by the way, I'm referring to the one that we were using as a draft for all of this, which does include the red. But that was in black, which leads me to believe it's present policy.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, are we down to number 5? Should that be underlined?
Yes.
So
Yes.
each heading will be underlined.
Okay,
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6.
Got it.
Actually, 7, 8 as well.
All needs to be capitalized. Yep, I'll underline all of those through then there. When you get down to, well, I might be jumping.
In B, I think in B, do we need the board officers and the superintendent?
Yes, I had that noted too, Kathy.
Yeah,
After that comma, just put the word and.
word and,
Uh-huh.
Oh, the second sentence?
yeah,
Okay. And the superintendent shall meet to set, okay,
Right.
yeah.
So just take out the comma and put the word and in.
okay. In C, if I'm trying not to jump, it was bolded and underlined, so I continued it where it says, if request is a time-sensitive matter, it should be noted. Should I keep it bold and underlined or no?
I don't think it needs to be formatting wise.
Okay.
See where it hurts at that.
Pardon?
I said, I don't see where it hurts at to have it that just because if you're a new board member, that's something that you may need to know versus other board members versus who've been on the board for a little while.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying from a formatting standpoint of what other things we are underlining and bolding, I think that it's not consistent with the other things that we're underlining. So, I mean, bold maybe, but underline, I don't think so.
All right, got it.
Is it courtesy copies or courtesy copied? In that
Where are you?
page 6. Very
Oh. Board and courtesy. Oh,
Copied, I think.
copied.
yeah.
IED.
ED, yeah.
Okay. Capital B. Okay.
Okay, mine has IED at the end. Are you guys looking at are we looking at the same thing?
Page 6 of 63.
Yeah.
It's not. It wasn't. It right here. And courtesy. Can you see up on the screen?
Oh, sorry, further down. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. And I'll capitalize for. Under D.
Yeah, I just have to take out, it says at regularly. You just need to take out that T in the first sentence. The normal content of the agenda at A.
Yes.
Yeah.
The things that are in yellow is what is on our current agenda. That was not what was in the policy as we went through the draft and as I was doing this. So I put it in yellow. Those are things I added because that's what our agenda currently looks like now. So I didn't know if you want to keep that there, but that's why I did that. In our policies, it said reflection, moment of reflection and not silence, but we say the moment of silence. So do we want to do reflection or do we want silence and so forth?
I would be inclined to have it reflect what we currently do, but then also to bring it to the full board for everybody to have input of whether or not they see any necessary changes.
Because in our current policy, it was in red in the draft as a proposed change. So
To
it's
change
not
it to reflection.
correct. We were changing it to moment of reflection. Because in our current policy, we do invocation, but we're not doing invocation. So we propose to say moment of reflection or moment of silence. So I didn't know which one you wanted.
Reflection / silence.
Took care of that.
And we got it covered.
There you go.
I added student performance because we sometimes do, that's what it is. And we do, when we have them, we do list it on the agenda.
For formatting too, it needs to have a semicolon at the end of each numerical. Some of them have commas, some of them have nothing.
Those fine then?
Seems fine to me.
All right, I'll take them off of the yellow. So no motions by presiding officer will be underlined as well as consent agenda.
Yeah, Kathy needs to be unmuted.
Do what?
Kathy needs to be unmuted.
Oh.
Yeah, on number 7, I don't like the fact that we have the word generally in there. They
Okay.
either make a motion or second a motion or they don't. I think generally is not helpful.
Okay.
I agree. I think they don't, right?
Well, I tell you, Robert's rules for small boards, which is what we are because we're less than 12 people, the officers can make motions.
Oh,
But this has been a kind of a long-standing thing because folks feel that the chair has outside influence on members. So I think it's probably valuable. We haven't had any trouble with it.
So remove the word
yeah.
Yeah, remove that word.
Yeah, I would, but
Okay.
I agree, because we kind of live by that right now anyways.
yeah. Yeah, and it's not
That's our
problematic.
practice, yeah.
Although in COVID-19, we're not going to be passing the gavel.
But I think Tina one time said she was passing it. I remember that.
She did.
Yeah, she did, because I was like, oh gosh, okay. Thanks a lot, Tina.
All right, so we're good with
Done with
number
that?
7?
Mhm.
Well, do you think that that's something that we should bring to the full board?
It's all going to the full board.
I mean, I meant with it as is, and then with the change made.
The generally thing,
Yeah.
I think that one was if it's in red, that's was already a proposal.
Correct.
So,
Yeah, it's a proposal.
so it was, yeah, so it was already in editing mode, if you will.
All right.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're down to consent.
Yep.
Good.
Okay,
Go on.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm down to number 9. I don't know where everybody else is.
Nope, I agree.
I have to struggle with the word results at the end for whatever formatting. It's
Being goofy.
being messy and I'm fighting with it. Tina has a question. She's muted.
Tina?
Let's see.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So the only thing I noticed with what you just discussed is, if you scroll back up, Robin, it only talks about removing things from consent agenda to the board business action. It never talks about going the other way. And it specifically says that the board will use the consent agenda to dispose of other items of business it chooses not to discuss. So it seems like you should be able to have items go the other way.
Hmm.
Hmm.
What do you mean, Tina?
So in other words, the consent agenda here, the text here only talks about moving an item out of consent agenda to board business action. It never talks about what if a board member or the board decides they want to not discuss something and just move it to the consent agenda. That's not addressed here. But it says that the board can dispose of other items of business it chooses not to discuss under consent agenda. Do you understand what I mean?
So,
So if there's an item under board business action that that 2/3 of the majority of the board decided we don't really need to discuss this, we can move it to consent for being disposed of. You think it should be 2/3 the way?
Well, if the agenda hadn't been approved yet, it's normally just a simple majority. But if the agenda has been approved and a board member says, I move that we take the item under board business action and move it to consent agenda, then it would have to be 2/3.
Right.
Yeah, actually, prior to approval of the agenda, a single member can move it.
right, that's what B
But can it
says.
move the other way though? See, a
Yeah,
single member
yeah.
could move it from consent to business, but can it go the other way? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I've never even thought of that.
Yeah.
But if we did it as a two-way, then a single member could move from business to consent prior to approval of the agenda. That might be dangerous.
I was going to
Exactly.
say,
That doesn't seem good because the other way, when you're moving from consent to the board business, you're increasing discussion, you're increasing debate. Yet if you're
Right.
doing what you
Right.
just mentioned, you're limiting debate, limiting discussion. Yeah.
Right.
Well, maybe just leave it. That was just something I noticed.
Ah. Sorry.
I can't
All right.
imagine it. I can't, I think we'd get into a tug of war
Yeah.
with the issue if we said that they could, a single board member could move it into consent.
Yeah.
Then we'd go back and I think we'd just get bogged down.
Yeah, I agree, because then a single member could remove it from consent.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just leave it.
Okay. So
Okay.
so go to 9.
That's where I am.
Yes.
Okay.
The results aren't in the same font.
I know, that's why I said it got, I don't know, we were fighting in the formatting, so I have to
Yeah.
like delete the whole thing and retype the whole thing back in.
Ah,
It kept squishing it.
Okay. On to number 10.
mhm.
I think 10 is being covered in the next policy committee, correct? About massaging that or no?
Let's see.
Because this is, isn't that one of the action items that's meant for the next?
Oh, yeah,
for
let's see if I have my list.
I thought so too, Rachel, because it was a conversation of, was it going to do 3 readings? Is it going to
Right.
be, all of that? So I had questions about number 10. And I also thought that the wording, however, as a customary practice, lends to maybe, just like David suggested, we take out the word generally. It almost should say a proposed policy revision, just say what it is.
Yeah, Robin, I think that, now anybody else correct me if I'm wrong, that 10 should be highlighted then.
Highlighted, okay.
Yes.
And then I'm looking at 11 and 12, and the last sentence of 11 is combined, I think, with 12. I'm trying to. Or maybe they should.
All right, on number 10, we took out the however as a customary practice.
Take the however out. Take that whole as a customary practice.
Yes, ma'am. I think we
Okay.
agreed on that, right?
All right.
Mhm.
But I'm highlighting it as yellow I need to highlight it for board discussion, correct?
Yes,
Well, is it board discussion or is it an action item for the next policy?
for the next policy committee.
Okay, so that's yellow. Okay.
Yeah.
I found number 11 a little confusing.
And I think we didn't, I agree because it says in emergency situations, but it says a proposal for such change must be listed on the agenda of the meeting. We didn't do that when we, Rachel, didn't we suspend something for our,
Because that's not our present policy. That's the draft of the new.
That's the draft,
got it,
correct.
okay.
Our present policy just says we can, and I think it's by majority vote.
Yes.
I don't know.
So I think number
This
11.
came in from our draft policies.
This came from the work of the previous committee.
Yes.
It seems to have a couple different ideas going on in that same paragraph. So that's where it almost could be conflicting with each other. So I think we need to break it up a little bit, or.
I think what the intent behind it was if it's not on the agenda, then you can add it to the agenda, but you're going to have a 2/3 vote.
Two-thirds
And then
vote.
again, you're going to have a 2/3 vote for the actual suspension or waiving of that policy. So it's basically requiring 2 votes if it's not in the agenda. one vote if not. I think is what
Yeah.
what it's supposed to.
So then, Rachel, is it supposed, after the first sentence where it says that in an emergency situation, a majority of the board members present, okay, to the first sentence. So then should the last sentence come right after that?
A policy may be,
They're contradictory.
I
They
know.
are in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, they are contradictory.
So I was thinking that the second and third sentence need to be removed.
a proposal for such change must be listed, or all board members must be notified in writing.
I thought both of those should come out.
Okay,
And then the last sentence,
a policy may be suspended or waived by a 2/3 vote.
would be right at the end of the first sentence, but does that make sense?
Yeah, it does to me.
Yeah,
That's what we did when we had to, waive our policy to have e-meetings or
Right.
Yeah.
that type of thing.
And
yeah,
I'm
I don't
ready.
know what the second and third sentence, I don't know where they belong.
I'm having a hard time, and Rachel, I know this came out of your committee. I'm having a hard
Yeah.
time with emergency situations that are listed on an agenda prior to the meeting and notified in writing. It seems contradictory to an emergency.
Yeah, and I don't have the
But,
other.
I could-
I
wait a minute.
don't know where it originally came from. I don't know if it came out of
I'm looking at-
conversations.
Yeah, it is. I'm looking it up to get from which policy it was told to be put into. board
I know it was
meetings.
in 2.3, but what I'm saying is I know that some of these that are in red came from.
It was in policy 2.3, number 4. Under
Yeah.
our policies, and it says in emergency situations, a majority of the board members present a regular, well, wait a minute. Yes.
Right. You're right. 2.3 Roman numeral 4,
Yes.
but I don't have the old version of this that was in purple that showed which ones were suggestions from the legal counsel. I think I think it was the School Boards Association.
Hmm.
Oh,
And
you
that's
mean
what I'm
it?
getting at. I'm not sure
Oh,
where
okay.
and I don't honestly remember even having the conversation about it. I missed a few of those meetings, so
Yeah.
could have been that. But I agree that the first sentence and the last sentence clearly are in conflict. I mean, it says a majority, and then another one that says 2/3. So,
Mhm.
So take out the word in emergency situation and just start with a majority of the board members, or,
no, I think that it needs to, about the emergency situation part of it. See, this might even still go to 10. I don't know.
And then look at number 12, not to muddy the waters, but
I know.
number 12 says,
Yeah,
But, yeah, that's unanimous, yeah.
I think that 11 and 12, you also get into the what is an emergency situation conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So
maybe we should pass this on to the next, for the other committee to discuss. I don't,
Yeah, I'd say that, and I think we need to highlight this because
Okay.
there's a couple of different things going on in here and they seem contradictory.
Mhm. Yeah,
I think the point is that we have to comply with FOIA.
Yeah.
So,
well, our present policy that is in effect right now is basically 2 sentences. The board may change its policies at any time, period. Unless such rule is suspended or waived by a 2/3 vote of the board's membership, all changes to board policy require approval at 3 meetings of the board.
yep,
So
that
that's very
sounds good.
from this.
Yeah,
I think it does need to.
yeah, that old wording seems pretty good, but
well, this is talking about temporarily suspending something versus changing.
Well, that's what. Unless
know what
such
I'm-
rule is suspended or waived by 2/3.
Yeah.
That's our It basically says any other changes require 3 readings.
Right.
Yeah.
Suspend it, but it takes 2/3 vote, is what it says now. Which I think works, but
Yeah.
So what do you all want me to do?
highlight it.
Yeah.
Don't
Highlight
take
it,
any,
we'll kick it down to the, kick this can down the road here.
okay,
Yeah.
don't take anything out. Just highlight both 11 and 12 as is.
Yeah, and
Yes.
what was
Okay.
10 also 10, 11, 12.
I think 10, 11, 12, because they have to all work together.
Yes.
Yeah,
So we can just really study that and figure out exactly what we're trying to say there.
Okay.
I think the issue with the present policy as it is right now as a sidebar is that it requires 3 readings of any new policies or anything like that. And I think we need to have a mechanism in place that memorializes stuff. So
Right.
Right.
And
All
we
right.
want to get to 2 readings, I think. Oh, well.
Well, a sidebar to that is when there have been some motions that have been made, they become policy right away.
Yes,
Right?
they do. Yes, they
Yes.
do.
So
Right, yeah.
that's the other
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm. All right, so are we on to 13?
Yes.
No change there.
No.
Robin's like, keep going.
No.
All right, 14.
Mhm.
So the rest of everything else is in red that you all had.
Right.
Do we, let's number 14, when we have that when practical, when isn't it practical? I guess sometimes we didn't, we do audio and video for everything, right?
We do now.
We used to go to venues where you couldn't do that.
Right.
Ah. Okay.
But we bought a camera and we can do it now, but we haven't always been able to do that.
Well, do we want to leave when practical in there, or is it our expectation that it's always done?
Just in case.
Well, if the camera breaks, then we won't
That's
be able
just,
to have a
yeah, the
meeting.
camera, yeah, okay.
If
Got
we
it.
have technical problems, like sometimes we do,
Yeah.
Okay.
On the second sentence, I have a question about should be backed up. Should we take the should be out and
yes,
say will be?
yes,
That sounds
Yeah.
good.
got it.
Okay. Well, we got through those 2
William's
sentences.
raising his hand.
And
Go ahead, Will.
he's
He's
muted.
He's muted.
We don't have a backup camera?
Huh?
We don't have a backup camera?
We don't carry 2 cameras with us, and when it's recording by video, we don't know that it's not working until it's not working.
Well, I was thinking that one of y'all are checking it while one person is in the meeting. That's why somebody goes into another room to check.
No,
That's
that's not, no, one person is recording, the other person is operating board docs.
We have a backup audio if in case the video's not working.
We have not been using a backup audio, no.
Okay,
Maybe we should. Huh?
that's something to consider because if we lose all the video, we also lose the audio.
Right.
Right.
So that's something to consider.
Mhm.
All right. That's something to consider. $15 now?
That's fine.
Mhm.
What? Oh,
I think the second sentence is not quite right
Hmm?
on A.
The superintendent may attend executive session except when his or her absence is allowed or mandated by his and her
Okay.
contract or.
Okay, makes
Yeah.
sense to me. Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Are we done with the A? Can we go to
Yeah.
B?
Mhm.
All right.
Keep moving on.
Yeah,
On to C.
Yep.
yep.
Okay, I think C and D are pretty
Hmm.
inarguable.
Agree.
Okay, on to number 16. And I know Rachel's committee worked on this pretty well, so,
and I think I was absent for some of it, so.
oh, okay.
Um,
Oh, am I moving too fast?
No.
Yeah, that's where we are.
The only thing I saw on this one is letter D. Just to keep things parallel, the last sentence, it says confidentiality of their participation. It should be his or her, because we're talking about a
Okay.
single board member.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if we need the statement from C down in D as well.
Which,
That says any member participating in such fashion will identify the persons present in the location from which the member is participating.
Oh, that's a good thought.
I don't think we've done this. To me, it's more, I mean, when you're in executive session, there shouldn't be
It
anybody
shouldn't
with
be
you.
anybody. Yeah.
Right.
I think that's what that second sentence in D was supposed to kind of,
It's the response to ensure security and confidentiality.
Okay.
because we had Wendy, I think, from what I remember, look into it.
yes,
And basically to absolve the board, this sentence of it's the responsibility of the board member to ensure that, because there was so many questions, I think, surrounding lines being secure and
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
move on to 17.
Mm-hmm.
on A, should it say will distribute? Because it's saying,
Shall.
it says
But-
shall and it says no later than Thursday, so it's obviously a relatively hard deadline.
I think you're the will or shall person, Rachel, so.
Yes,
I think all the,
I did a check find and all the wills turned to shalls, so we'll go back to.
oh, okay. Yeah, I think those should all be wills.
This one should be a will.
Yeah.
And
Will include,
the supporting materials will include minutes, not shall.
yeah.
Yeah.
C, say the board.
Got you. Will.
Yeah.
All right. Time to 18.
Yeah, I'm there. Everybody else is.
Yep.
Yep.
I had a question now that we're in Culver. Do we have to change anything or add anything to our public comments, or will that be later under the next committee? Because we do things differently now. Do we need a provision in there now for how we do things?
Is there something in here you think conflicts with the way we're doing it?
Probably just when we get to Roman numeral 2 and it talks about submitting a card.
Okay,
I have to call, I call people now, they have to email me, I call them, and now I'm putting that in for our committees. So what I do now is I set I send on the agenda to have people contact me an hour before the meeting starts if they want to participate in public comments. And then I would need to call them.
I don't think we need to make any
Okay.
memorialized changes for the
Okay.
future. Personally,
Right.
I think in this case, because we're in a pandemic, we can suspend a policy, and go about new procedures.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. And by the time we get through the third reading on these policies, hopefully the pandemic will be over.
Oh, let's hope, huh?
Yeah. Oh, Robin, I do have a question. I hate to get off topic, but
Good.
when you talk to them on the phone, do you read them the rules on the public comment card? Or
No, because I have it on the agenda. So no,
Okay.
I don't read it to them.
okay,
I
But
just
it's
try to
a-
get them on the phone as fast as I can to get to you all.
yes, ma'am, I appreciate that. But it's on the agenda. I just want to make sure they saw it somewhere. And I
Yes.
think Tina sometimes reads it out also.
She does.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm refocused now.
Okay.
On 2A, the first sentence, board clerk, were we going to change those to executive assistant?
Will do.
Yeah.
Go back. 2A, yeah. Meant
Mhm.
to.
And then just to stay consistent, in the second sentence, we've been capitalizing the word board. So cards will be available at the board's meeting site. So, I mean, just to stay consistent.
Okay. Gotcha.
Same in the third sentence, right?
Yeah.
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 I'll take all the clerks out to the executive assistant.
Yeah.
So clerks
Yeah.
all the way through.
And all the boards capitalized.
All the boards capitalized.
Yeah, it's every sentence. We uncapitalized the state, but we capitalized ourselves.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm sure there's some psychological interpretation of that.
Probably.
Well,
I
We
know.
eliminated the state, didn't we? And we put South Carolina Department.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, you're right.
We
Yeah.
gave them more. Yeah.
Yes. All right, I'm more comfortable with that.
I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I'm looking at K.
Yeah, Kay, I saw that too, the audibly versus, and we don't do that.
Wait, which one? Hang on. I was looking at second.
Oh,
Which one?
Hang
How
on.
does it start? How does it start?
Roman numeral 2, rules for board meetings, K. Persons appearing before the board should be aware that board members are without authority to act independently as individuals in official matters. then the next sentence starts with neither, and it
Right.
needs to be capitalized.
Yep.
The board nor individuals will respond.
Okay,
And it doesn't work because it's a double negative.
right. You
Right.
got to take the not out, right?
Yep.
Neither
Get those knots out.
Neither the board nor individuals will respond to speakers.
And I don't think that's exactly accurate because I think that we send them a thank you for your
I
comment.
thank you for your comments.
Right. So I think maybe it should, I think what it means is we're not going to respond to them in real time, right? We're not going to engage in dialogue. essentially.
Right.
And that was questions that I did keep getting, particularly last week for graduation, when
Right.
they called back the second time. So he sent an email saying, then why did I speak? I said, well, you spoke to let the board know how you felt.
Yeah.
So now we're going to say neither the board nor individual members
Yes.
Members on there?
will respond to speakers.
Speaker comments or speakers?
During
Yeah.
public comment. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, during public comment.
During public comments. That's good.
Yeah.
And that's will as opposed to shall, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
During public comment.
I want to comment on that.
Go ahead.
I was going to say maybe that's something that we may need to have a discussion on as a board. Maybe that's something the board may need to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's something that we need to have an outline to see, because that was done prior to this board here, and maybe this board pair may feel differently on that. So the board, as a board, I think we need to have a discussion on that.
I'm with you. The whole board should discuss it. It is very complicated if you open that door.
I imagine it is, but I just I just know that that's something that we may want to discuss as a board moving forward.
Mm-hmm. If you can put that in your notes when we go through the 3 readings, you could bring that up. Is that okay?
That's fine. I have no problem with that.
Okay. That way I don't have to remember it.
Keep moving forward.
Well, if we go back to J, the second sentence, a suitable timing device shall be employed. I know that we have that on the screen,
Mhm.
and it says, and shall audibly notify the speaker. I mean, I don't think
Oh.
there's no bell. There's nothing that audibly
No.
notifies a speaker. So it's a visual notification. Tina has to be the one to say your time is up. So
Mhm.
either we need to get a bell or we need to change audibly to visually.
I thought when it was in person, though, they got a beep. No?
No.
I don't recall a beep. Maybe I'm just forgetting. It's been so long.
Yeah, it has. Okay.
Robin, is there a beep?
Not anymore.
Are you just humoring me?
No, I'm
So-
not. No, we used to have, before we had board docs and they had the counter up there, we actually did put a timer up there and it had that cow horn that went beep.
That was abrasive, but effective. Okay, so we're going to change that to say a suitable timing device shall be employed. And that's it?
Maybe just to notify the speaker.
Yeah.
Just shall be employed to notify the speaker.
Of the end of his or her
Yeah,
comment.
For comment period.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody good with that?
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Yeah, it should be changed. Sorry, on J, the chair will.
Yep.
The chair will and not shall.
Uh-huh.
Me and my wills and shalls.
I know. You have to give me a lesson in that one day, Rachel.
Oh, you don't want to know.
All right, so are we down to L?
Yep.
Yeah. The
Well,
board clerk again needs to be
Yes,
changed.
I'll,
but-
I'll change all the clerks out.
Yeah.
back in, I'm sorry to take us backwards, but in K, the now third sentence. Answers may be deferred pending proper background investigation and formal consideration or referred to administration. We don't, now somehow that seems like we're going to
Answer.
otherwise give
does. Yeah.
answers.
Yeah.
It's in our present policy. That's where that.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't think we ever do it.
No.
I don't think we do.
No.
I mean, there
Which
might.
one is that?
On K,
Hey,
the last sentence, Will, says questions can be directed to the board, but answers may be deferred pending proper background investigation or referred to the administration.
Well, there may be stuff that happens by the administration if they hear something that we don't know about.
Well, yeah, they could pick it up. And in the olden days, the board every once in a while would direct the superintendent to look into something that a commenter brought up.
Right.
Or if they were there in the audience, they take them back, they would go with the person speaking and they'd go, you know, out in the lobby or whatever
Yeah.
to get the information.
Yeah, they would.
So,
You know, I saw Dr. Stratos do that the first time she was at that board meeting in Hilton Head. Speaker got up and she immediately responded as soon as the meeting broke up.
I don't know how we're going to change that, but that needs work.
yeah, let's highlight it.
When we highlight it,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because it also says may.
right.
It's not will or shall.
right. Your domain of expertise continues to expand. Now you've got may in there with will and shall.
well, when it says the questions may be directed to the board, doesn't that mean like if someone is standing there, they're asking the board, you know, a particular question, but you're not responding back during those public comments. So
Right.
therefore, it does get rerouted to somewhere else.
Mhm.
So someone may ask you all a question.
Yeah, and they do sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And but the part where it says but answers may be deferred.
I think that speaks to Mr. Smith's point, which I think is a very good point that should be discussed you know, in front of the whole board.
oh yeah. Yeah, because if we're gonna respond, then that second part becomes really important, because then
Yeah.
we'll just be winging our opinions.
yeah,
Yeah, it could go into a much larger conversation of who's responsible for getting
Mhm.
answers to people,
Right.
and how do
Right.
we even ask
Right.
them?
Right, and what is the board's will? Because, you know, the board can't respond unless they have a vote.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's,
it could be pretty dangerous.
yeah, it is dangerous, I think.
So is this highlighted for the policy committee, or should I highlight in another color for the board to the blue?
I think.
I
it
think
should
that,
go to full-
go ahead, Rachel.
Sorry, I was gonna say, I think it should go to full board first, and if they want
Okay.
to,
All right.
because I think right now, aren't we kind of limited on that new policy committee on what our task is? I don't know if that falls under it or not.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah, and that should probably go along with the discussion of how to shorten board meetings.
That won't do it, I'll guarantee you that.
No, nope. Are we on to L?
Yes, I think.
Okay, well, we
Okay,
already
the clerk. Yeah, we've already said
did
clerk.
the clerk thing.
Does Roman numeral, wait,
Hmm?
are these supposed to be Roman numerals?
They're Roman numerals because they fall under public comments, and they're the different sections in public comments.
Okay. I
So
was
that's what,
trying to keep
Okay.
track of that. And
so that was the only reason why those,
okay, rules for board meetings is Roman numeral 2.
so then we go to
So
did you
then
want me
it's
to go back
public
up?
comment.
And then 4, adherence to public participation expectations should be underlined. Is that right?
Underlined, yes.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Roman numeral 4 should be underlined.
Oh, got you. Yes.
We're on Roman numeral 4, or are we done? I know B is somewhat problematic, but
Yeah,
I know county council had a problem with that one. But I think it's legal, just not enforceable.
may.
Should be will or shall.
Question.
Number 19, I wasn't sure if, when I was reading through it, I don't know if that's something that belongs there.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was.
19 what?
Yeah,
Yeah. This
Yeah,
is one of those board members, it should be up in that introduction. To ensure that the board's business meeting members will. No work sessions, board meeting agenda.
I was thinking this needed to be moved somewhere else.
Oh, it definitely needs to be moved somewhere.
Is that a handbook thing?
It seems like it came after something that said the board will.
Yes, that's why I was looking up at the,
It was something that was to be inserted, and this is a policy.
we could put it as P on page 6. Because it does, like you said, David, it says board members will, and then we have A through O.
So move this to P.
It's just a suggestion.
I think that's where it belongs. Kathy, Rachel.
Which one?
yeah, the only thing is, because that's where I thought it would go to, but it says all these letters say to ensure that the board's business meetings are conducted with maximum effectiveness and efficiency. So
Mhm.
all of these things are supposed to be turned around with that the meetings are conducted with that.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, that doesn't really have, I guess you could stretch it and say, well, people are,
Well, we could have it as a number,
and I know
like
this, I'm sorry.
like put it as a number 3, and then on page 5, and then make number 3 number 4.
Yeah, I
Because
think,
that's talking
I
I
about,
think that's a good place to
Yeah.
put it.
yeah,
So move this to number 3
Yeah,
on page 4.
and then make number 3,
page,
Four.
page
page
5.
5.
Okay.
And then make number 3 that has all those letters underneath it, number 4.
Okay. Go back to here.
okay.
But you're going to have to,
Renumber the stuff. Let's see.
you're going to have to start it out with the board will. You're going to have to
Right.
add that in.
So it
Yeah.
says the board will regularly and routinely.
Yes. Is it a will or a shall? Shall, right?
Now,
You're on mute, Rachel, but I think you said shall,
What is, it's a shall?
I think.
The
I
board
read her
shall.
lips.
It's a shall.
Shall.
Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself.
I know, what happened with
Okay.
that we couldn't unmute ourselves?
What it does is it gets stuck because right now, this is open to everyone, and what we do is mute everyone coming in, and so it takes a little bit longer for board members. We've set it up that you are able to unmute yourself, but because it's opened up for anyone, we automatically mute everyone and
Yeah.
only allow you all to unmute, but it takes a little bit longer for that to happen.
Got it, okay.
Makes sense. All right, are we on to number 20?
Yep,
Okay, I think this one is Wendy.
And this was our teacher dismissal. So this was just cut and paste straight into the document.
Okay. And I'm assuming, and this is all legal and,
Yeah, I'm trying to find where it was before.
It is policy 3.10, teacher dismissal hearing process.
Yeah.
And Wendy had quite a bit of changes that,
It's under this GC because it's a what? Governing commitment.
yeah.
Got it.
and all the Roman numerals are supposed to be underlined, right? The first few words?
yes, I should, yes, I should have, yes. Actually, there should be 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. They should be regular numbers.
They should be regular numbers?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Why? Because it's number 20. Teacher
Oh.
just, so it has
That's
to
right.
be.
That's why, okay. I forgot why I did what I did.
Okay.
See, I was right the first time.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
All right, so we're on to GC3.
Is it number 20 or is it 19? Sorry.
Hmm.
Is it 19 or 20?
it will still
It'll
be 20.
change.
Well, but won't it still be 20 because 19
There is
is turning into number 3. Number 3 is turning into number 4. Won't it just cascade down?
Yes, yes.
Cascade, that's a good word.
Yeah.
I like that too. Maybe we
But
can
we
work
need-
it in.
Yeah.
Work it into the policy somewhere. Yeah, ARs cascade from policies.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. All right, so we're on GC3.
Yep.
So we added
Can I just, before we do that, David, could
Yes,
we
ma'am.
look at, on page 13? There's just a one sentence there.
Mhm.
The board shall determine whether if the evidence presented.
Yep.
Shouldn't it just be the board shall determine if the evidence presented?
Take the weather out.
I'm
Yeah.
just, I'm at, you know, I know you said this came right from Wendy, but
Yeah.
whether
Yep.
if.
Yeah.
One of those has to be gone, either the
Yes.
if or the whether.
Right.
Wendy's trying to unmute, so let me unmute.
Okay.
See, let's see.
And maybe it's a legal thing. You have to have both.
Hold on.
Yeah, those attorneys like to talk like that.
They get paid by the word.
Wait a minute, you're not unmuted yet, Wendy. We're trying to get you unmuted. Let's see. Don't know.
Robin, are you,
Molly, can you unmute her? I can't.
I've been trying. I'm not sure if we're hitting the button at the same time.
Okay, I'm not touching anything, so you go try again.
Okay.
Nope.
It's
Huh.
not.
Okay, she might have something she might have done in her office.
All right, well, can you ask her, Robin?
You can chat it to us. Yeah.
Chat it, yeah.
I can walk around there to her office right quick if you want me to.
I don't think it needs that
Okay.
emergency.
Yeah, we'll just
Okay, all right.
make sure.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
there
just
she
wanna-
goes.
Okay.
You're unmuted now, Wendy.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Is this better? I'm pressing. Can you
Good.
hear me now? Can you all finally
Yes.
hear me? No, I've been trying to talk. I've been raising my hand. I wanted to tell you. First, I wanted to tell you that on electronic participation, Rachel's right. We did get an opinion letter from the Attorney General about that. We put that language there. And then on the teacher dismissals, I went back and looked at the statute to make sure that we were in compliance with that statute. And then the last part that we're on right now, the board shall determine whether the evidence presented shows good and just cause. Whether instead of if, so we
Yep,
shouldn't
yep.
see it in there.
Okay.
But happy birthday, Mr. Scrivener. Isn't today your birthday?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Happy birthday. I'm so glad to be with you all because you really move this committee along and you do such great work. And so I was trying to participate here, but I'm sorry.
Yeah,
All right.
it's-
You guys are
So-
doing great. You're doing great. Okay.
All right.
On
So
to
where am I?
On to GC3.
Yeah.
All right, we got 20 more minutes.
Okay.
Have to capitalize that. Okay. Am I moving to back?
Number 6,
Uh-huh.
the last sentence, it will be the responsibility of the chair to initiate this process. I
Yeah.
think,
Process and approves.
right.
Process.
Okay. And determine whether to use an outside facilitator for delivering a discussion of the results. That it?
I can see some discussion on that last sentence, but we'll wait till the readings.
Do I need to make it highlighted or leave it alone?
I would leave it alone and just
Okay.
let folks find it.
Okay.
Can we go back to 4D?
Sure can.
The role relationship of the superintendent and the board?
The role
Wait.
and relationship, or?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's the board superintendent relationship.
So that came from, that's
that from-
Lori's.
Maybe role / relationship of the superintendent of the board, including the specified authority of the superintendent and the process for monitoring.
Right.
Develop written governing policies that address
Yeah,
the role
/
and
relationship.
Well, it would have to be plural roles, because you're talking about superintendent and the board.
Board.
See. Whereas it says originally the role, D says the role relationship of the superintendent of the board, including the specified. So that's how Ori has, that's how they have it written. So,
Yeah,
The role relationship, nothing in between there, huh?
no, it has board / superintendent relationship : the role relationship of the superintendent and the board, including the specified authority of the superintendent and the process for monitoring district and superintendent
Right.
performance.
that's what it says. Maybe that's how they talk up there.
Yeah.
But it would seem to me that number 4 says develop written governing policies that address D, board superintendent relationship. So the relationship between the superintendent and the board.
I'd go with that.
So say that again. I was reading something else.
Well, I was going back to 4 because that's the beginning of every A, B, C, and D. So it says develop written governing policies that address.
Okay.
And D is, so address the board superintendent relationship. So why don't we just say the relationship between the superintendent and the board? Because otherwise it makes no sense.
Yeah, and we have, that's a whole category of specific thing, right? Yeah.
Right, and it's the relationship,
Yeah.
it's not the role. So
Right.
I think we stick
Yeah.
with that word and say
Okay.
it's the relationship between. Because
All right. I'll take out the role relation. Okay.
Okay. Are we through 5 and 6?
6, I'm changing to process and not proves.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And the, on to the next page.
So just for formatting and clarity, I think.
Okay.
Numbers 9 and 12. So this is talking about things that the board will. It starts off with the board will and then gets into these numericals, right? And so the board will, number 9, members shall. So I think it should say something or read appropriately with that language. You see what I'm saying?
right,
Yes.
I mean, it's talking about individual members, but
Oh, and you know what I did?
So I guess that might be a question, or, I mean, we're obligated to make official visits, so to keep it, it says the board will,
And take out members shall, just say make.
Well, now the board doesn't have to make official visits.
right,
Board
right.
members.
Members,
The members do.
yeah.
I don't think it's required either. It's just at their discretion.
I
And
think, hold on a minute.
How about the board will encourage members to make official visits?
yeah,
Good, good.
there you
Very,
go. Well, one word.
And,
Yeah.
and actually, it is in the statute under 59, 1996.
Yes, it
It
is.
says visit schools within the district from time to time and at least once in every school term and take care they're
Right.
conducted, you know.
Mhm.
Right, you're all right.
So so what are we saying?
So we're saying encourage and before members.
But Wendy, are you saying that it's a mandate?
It says here, right
It
here,
is.
under the
It is.
statute 50, 1990, the Board of Trustees shall also, and number 6 says visit schools. Visit the public schools within its district from time to time and at least once in every school term and take care that they are conducted according to law and with the utmost efficiency.
Oh,
If it said will, it would be a mandate. It says shall, which,
Shall.
okay.
Shall also, shall.
but encourage,
Encourage won't work there.
the board will encourage members to make.
Official visits. Tina sent a
Visits.
message that she can't unmute.
Okay.
Oh,
No, I don't think we can use the word encourage now because Wendy just said it's not, you have to do it.
Board of Trustees shall also.
There she is. She's unmuted.
She unmuted?
Yeah, I was going to say exactly what Wendy said. It's definitely in the statute. The question
Right.
is, we're a huge district, so all 11 of us have to go visit all 32 schools. That really doesn't, annually, that doesn't really seem practical.
Within your area,
Within
In
your,
your district.
yeah, okay. So,
because you couldn't go to every school.
no, it'd be
It would be
well,
impossible.
our district would be probably almost physically impossible.
Mhm.
Uh,
Okay, so the board will,
Which you're at 9, right?
all right.
But I
so the
had it
board-
said shall.
Well, if we say our present policy, these numericals have before them, the board will, colon,
Right.
Okay.
Right.
9. So the board will encourage members to make official visits, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
That's,
Yeah.
we're the board encouraging members to make those visits is in compliance with
The shall in the statute.
right. That's what
Okay.
I think.
So maybe that should be in the handbook though, because it's a state law or state statute.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I
these are a
think-
lot of the statutes in here right now.
Yeah, I was reading those statutes before this, and you're right, it is in there. I'm almost wondering if this shouldn't just be its own separate, like, take it away from the board will. And so it's not one of these numerical,
Mhm.
and just have it that members shall make official visits.
Yeah. I think the intent behind this one was to encourage board members to contact the principals before and not just showing up.
Right.
That's right.
Oh,
Because you don't want to interfere with their educational process for the students.
All
They might
right.
have something going on that day and not be able to meet with
Right.
you.
Right.
Right.
So
Will, you got your hand up,
But he's muted.
but you're muted.
I don't think that board members should be required to make announce when they're coming, when they're going to buildings or anything else. I mean, if a board member wants to go, that's up to he or she. That's their prerogative. But to say that they have to adhere to a principle or let them know that, I think that's a bit far. That's a bit far and a bit far fetched because once again, you are the you are the policy and the procedures setters in that district, and you know, the worst thing is a board member, you just want to go through and look through and check, and they're putting a dog and pony show on. That's not what you're there for. So, you know, I mean, it's to everyone's point of view, but you know, I mean, I think that we're giving the principals and the staff members too much authority, and I don't think that's within their authority to make that decision. I'm done.
Okay, I was gonna say, when we go through the 3 readings,
Bring
it's
that up.
another thing you want to bring up.
Well, can I answer that or make a
Sure.
comment? So,
Sure.
So as an individual, the only time that the board has power is when you are in session, i.e. you are meeting. And that's the only time the board has power. So an individual board member making a visit to a school has 0 power. You are a citizen, honestly. So I think that I do think that you should be announced to the principal to not disrupt, you know, the learning that's going on in the school, and so that they know someone's going to be entering the school at a certain time or whatever. But you have no power as an individual going to that school, even though you are elected from that, let's say, that constituency.
And once again, I think that there are several underlying cases. A parent may require you to go in there and maybe having a problem with the principal and say, as a board member, as my representative, I want you to come in and I want you to hear how this principal talk to me. So I mean, there are different underlying concerns, and as a board member, you could just be going in and looking and seeing something. Or you know, you have to go in there for power. As a board member, you have the right, because you're duly sworn to make sure that those schools are operating correctly. So as a board member, you could be going and just want to see something for yourself. So I mean, I think that we're focusing too much on board members, right, and that particularly policy here versus the actual principle. And that's the problem with this board. We focus too much on board members versus the actual policies and procedures. We put too many policies and procedures around board members than actual doing our jobs.
Okay.
Rachel's raising her hand.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think to Will's point, it says shall and not will. So it's not a firm directive from the board, but it is saying that as a matter of courtesy, they shall do that. So I just want to point that out to you so that you understand that that's why I'm a stickler for the will and the shall, because there's discretion allowed with shall. With will, it's much more final. So that's why I'm a stickler for it.
Right.
So then are we going to go, getting back to this then, should we say the board will encourage
Members to
members who make official visits to schools?
Well,
Well,
we might have, I'm reading it a little differently now, because it's just saying that you only make visits upon the knowledge of the principal or designee.
Right.
It's a little different than the state statute.
exactly.
So,
Visit schools.
right.
I think it,
So,
I think we were going to edit it to say the board will encourage members to make official visits to schools, period. Take out the only upon knowledge part, because in the second sentence, kind of deals with that.
yeah. In a way it does, but you know, you always have to ask the captain's permission to come aboard. So,
You know, this is the only one that has to do with like individual board member. I mean, is this even in the right place? Everything else is the board will, you know, adopt, approve, appoint, and then all of a sudden you know, it's almost like, I'm not sure this even fits here now.
It might not be in the right place.
Yeah.
all right. So you want to just highlight it and
Yeah.
kick
And
it to
think about it.
the next committee?
Yeah. You know, I've never worked in a school system where the board members had keys to the buildings and could get in.
Mhm.
They never entered without you knowing they were coming. And, you know, we're in a position where we have access without anyone knowing we're there.
Yeah, so I think we need to look at number 9, and I think we need to look at 12. The board will inform the board of any purchase and or contract value.
I think that was put in, that was from a motion, and I saw that there. I also put it in OE6.
Right, it is in an OE.
And that's the district informing the board of any
Right.
purchase. The
Right, so
district-
it should say then the board will be informed. So
So does that need to stay in there, or does that stay in OE6?
It's an OE already, so.
Yeah,
So then,
Wow.
I would come out and leave it as an OE, correct?
right, I think
that's what
so.
I'm saying. Okay.
All right, you okay with that, Rachel?
Yeah, and I'm looking at the one that's in between with no number 11 and 12.
Right.
And I don't think that's the exact full language.
No, it's number 8 on OE6. Except in an emergency, the board shall authorize purchase and or contract. This was supposed to be there.
Yeah, but I think
better.
it's more, hang on, I think there's more language to it than that, I think.
It's in OE6, it says, except in an emergency, the board shall authorize purchases and or contract with value of 0.1% or more of the most recent approved comprehensive budget, except when such purchases have received specific line item approval in advance. It is actually from the motion, and I put it in OE6 dated April 27th.
Okay, so that needs to come out of there too. Then.
Yeah,
That
that
comes
was
out,
the
'cause this is-
additional language you were looking for, I think, Rachel, right?
So I put the whole motion in OE6.
So
Okay.
OE6 actually has all 3 of those, number 9, that one, and number 12, or no?
It has 8 and 9, and then it has 8 and 9. It doesn't have number 12. It has number 12 in there.
Okay.
It has number 12 in there.
What page is this on?
Page 45.
Thank you.
Well, yeah.
So does 11 stay there? Adopt operating and capital budgets that support strategic plan is approved by the board?
I think
Yes,
so.
ma'am.
Yes, I think so. Yep, the
Yeah.
board will. Yeah,
All right, so the numbers will change again because 12 comes
Yeah.
out.
All right, we only have 2 minutes, and I think we have to,
with,
Let's wrap it.
we've got to determine our next meeting.
Okay,
And the only homework so far is for me to go through those definitions in our current policies and see where they go.
can we just finish this this thing, because we're almost done.
If you'd like, yes.
Okay, because we just, so number 13, the board will approve attendance area boundaries, right? That would
Mhm.
stay.
That's
Yeah.
in the
Number
statute.
14, approve all land transactions.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 15, approve funding sources for new programs and or initiatives added in the general fund at the time they are approved.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense, does it?
I don't know about that one.
So
Well, they're added to the general fund as soon as they're approved.
Fund-
Which is before you actually receive the funds.
what about
What
like,
funding sources?
because didn't we just approve like those grants or the
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
goals for those?
That's
And-
what this is aimed at, yep.
Yeah.
And I will page 45 here because I don't see it.
15.
Huh?
Page 15.
15.
We were talking about the things that are on page 15 that are on page 45 instead.
So 16, 17, and 18 look like they're good. I don't know about 15, how you guys feel about 15, but
Well,
You know,
I thought,
I
doesn't
would like to
11?
get, yeah, I
Go
would
ahead,
like
David.
I would like to get Tanya's opinion on this one.
Okay.
So I would
Like, I'll
highlight it.
highlight it and
Highlight
ask for Tanya.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand fully what that's.
Yeah, I don't either.
I have an idea, but because it says approved and then at the time they're almost.
Yeah,
Yeah, how do we approve funding sources? Unless it's through grants, I don't know, right?
Unless it's that approve alternative funding sources or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. I think asking Tanya for some
Yeah, let's get time.
idea, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know how you add things to the general fund that
Yeah.
aren't received yet. Okay.
When do we want to meet again?
Why is 18 highlighted?
18 is highlighted because I wasn't sure if that was the correct wording, so that was highlighted for me to ask you.
Okay.
And if that goes with there.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, these are under the board will, right? So,
Yes.
I mean, under the board job description, I think it's okay, but
Got it.
It seems good to me. I just want,
I was reading, someone took notes when I wasn't, I was reading between Molly and Wendy's handwriting and trying to figure out if that's where that was supposed to be. So that's,
okay. Aren't you glad they aren't pharmacists?
yeah.
I don't know, I might be like one.
There are doctors, yeah. Okay, let's,
Okay, all
so
right.
we're done with this section.
yeah. So we'll pick up at GC4.
GC4, yeah.
Okay.
So
When
when do
you
you all
guys-
want to meet again?
Yeah,
Look.
So there are, right now, I have 2 meetings scheduled for next week, tentatively. We have agenda setting on Monday, and then we're getting ready to add ad hoc on Tuesday, June 2nd. So we have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week open.
do we have any graduations next week and then at
Yes.
night?
Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
Battery Creek is 5 o'clock on Monday.
Okay,
Beaufort is 10 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday.
okay.
Those are the only 2 I have blocked in my calendar, but
let me see. I have to get
and
Jim.
May River is the 3rd, but I don't know what time.
Let's see, Jim sent that out yesterday.
I don't have that.
So Battery Creek is Monday at 5. Beaufort High is Tuesday at 10. May River is Wednesday at 10. Well Branch is Thursday, starting at 3. Hilton Head High is Friday, starting at 3:30. Bluffton High is Saturday at 1.
Okay.
Okay, so how about Wednesday then? Is that an available date?
So May River is from 10 to noon on Wednesday, the 3rd.
Is
So we're-
Wednesday afternoon available though for you, Robin?
Yes. So what time do you want?
How about 3? Can we do it at 3?
3 works for me.
Will, I see you have your hand up. But
I
you're,
can take it down.
oh, okay.
3rd at 3 is fine for me.
We're all good with that?
Yep,
At 3 o'clock on June 3rd.
Tricia, you're good with that?
Yep, that works.
Okay. Rachel, you're good? Okay. All right. This is going to be a little longer than I anticipated, but something we got to do.
yeah, and I think it's best for us to do it line by line all together like this.
Yep.
I think that saves, because, you know, we could divide it up, but I think this is probably better.
Oh, Trisha asked to be on mute.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm good now.
Okay,
So it would be helpful, though, that if we did have a chance to read it ahead of time and come with our suggestions.
yes, yeah,
Okay,
So it's, you have that and the change, other than the changes today, but you can take that document and
right.
right,
Starting with GC4, correct?
Yep.
correct.
Okay.
All right.
Now
Move
you
to
got to go
adjourn.
celebrate, David.
Yeah, I
Yes.
Yes,
move we,
have a wonderful birthday.
I got a
Yep.
Boston cream birthday cake.
That sounds
oh,
good.
sounds good.
Really good.
Over in like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. Of course, first I have to eat dinner.
okay.
No, it's your birthday. You
It's
don't
your
have to do
birthday.
that first.
You can
Exactly.
do whatever you want.
can I have 3 of you all on, Rachel, Earl, and David. I have signs from school boards congratulating the 2020 graduates. Did any of you all want those signs? If you do, you can email me and we can make sure you get them.
Before the drive-through ceremonies? Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Oh, I should have, yeah, okay, yep, all right.
Yeah. My only reservation on that was that it says, "That's why I serve." I'd rather just say congratulations.
Yeah,
Yeah, same here.
Take the
Yeah.
attention away from me.
I had mine in my yard for a while.
Yeah, I put mine in the yard, but only 6 people would see it.
Yeah,
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
all right, thanks, guys. Have a good birthday, David.
Yeah, have
Thank
fun.
you.
Pepper.